All right, welcome to the Bears Den, presented by War Media as well as Sports Zone Chicago. I am Saul Rodriguez, joined by my co-host, as always, Sean Sierra, as well as Joe Tanksley. Thanks for joining us, guys. As always, we're entering Week 8, and we're now sitting here, entering, Week 8 with the Bears sitting at 2-5, winners of 2 of their last 3, 1-0 with Tyson Bagent under center. But we'll talk about things like that in particular. But I want to start with you guys in this last week with the Raiders. What did you guys think about that game as a whole? What did you think about Bagent? Like, just as a whole, like, we're going to get to that guy in particular individually on his own. But as a whole, what did you guys think about that win over the Raiders, 30-12? The Bears took that one. We'll start with you, Sean.
I love the game plan. I love the game plan. I love I want them to keep that same game plan the rest of the year, regardless of who the quarterback is. 38 times they rush the ball. That's what they need. That's what they need to do. They need to establish their dominance. They need to push people around. And I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier for offensive linemen to move forward than it is for them to back up and catch guys who are coming at them. It made it a lot easier for them. Deontay Foreman had a heck of a game. I would have liked to have gotten him 100 yards, but they split the carries between him and Darrington Evans. They had 30 carries, which is great. They have to continue to do that. It opened up a lot. I think Tyson Bagent did a great job of managing the game. I thought he had a lot of good reads. Some of the things that I saw, he's got to work on. He can't just flick the ball. There are plenty of times where he flicks the ball out there. He doesn't even rotate at the hips. He didn't get a lot on the ball quite a few times. He's going to have to make sure that he does a better job of not doing that, because that's gonna bite him in the butt moving forward. People have seen that in film now. They've seen that he tries to flick the ball and no torque with his upper body, nothing, literally just his arm. So he's going to have to make sure he works on that. But as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, as long as he continues to manage the game well like he did, and they run the ball, I think this team has a good shot to win until Justin comes back. And then if they continue that game plan, which they should, I think we have a chance to win quite a few games when by the end of the season.
Yeah, of course. What did you think, Joe? What did you think about the victory as a whole? I think we're having technical difficulties. So before, until we get Joe back, Sean, you didn't mention before we came on as well, just the fact that the defense has been doing better with Eberflus, and we have a tweet that you mentioned here showed us with Gervon Dexter, among the rookie defensive tackles since week 5, showing up. What do you think about that? And what has made a big difference with that?
He's just getting comfortable. He came in, he had a system that he was playing in that it was a little different. It was more read and react, and he was mirroring, and he wasn't attacking. Here he's got to attack. And man, I saw those one on the all-22. I'm sorry, the tight copy. Man, he manhandles 2 guys. He's bull rushing. He's holding his own at the line of scrimmage with a double team. Another one, he penetrates and gets in the backfield. So he's literally just getting comfortable in this new position. There were some people out there on Twitter, and people thought it was crazy talk, but some people said that he might be better or as good or as much of a disruptor as Jalen Carter from Georgia. And people thought that was nonsense. Well, you're starting to see this guy is playing really, really, really well. And by the stats that you put up there, he is since week 5, he's been the best 3 tech among rookies in the NFL, and that includes Jalen Carter.
Joe, what did you think about the game overall, and just about with Gervon Dexter, showing up and kind of making his presence felt in the NFL as a rookie?
I think the overall game plan kind of fit what was needed to win the game. Like Sean said, the way that they ran the ball and dominated the line of scrimmage, and really took it to the defense and punished that defense. That defensive line especially, was something that they need to continue throughout the year, no matter who is the quarterback. I think the game plan is what was needed for Tyson Bagent. They didn't really ask him to do too much, but make the plays that were there. And, he succeeded in doing that. We both came on last week and said we thought he was going to be, serviceable. I was a little bit more skeptical, but, he did a great job in really getting the fans involved. You know, you saw his confidence exude, you know, throughout the game. You know, he was able to make some plays. You know, Dante Foreman, you know, this is a pro's pro, and he's always ready to play. And he came in, and you know, he took the ball and carried it, and he punished, you know, yards after contact. You know, he even has some, you know, some catches at the backfield, which is, you know, something he's not known for. Defensively, I think I called it last week. I thought the Bears were going to get a defensive score, and they did. And you know, Jalen Johnson with 2 interceptions. You know, Tremaine Edmonds came up with another, you know, turnover. You know, second week in a row. You know, you started to see, you know, Matt Eberflus, since he's been calling the defense, you know, being more aggressive. And you know, it seems like, you know, the players on that side of the ball are really taking a liking to it, and you know, becoming a little bit more hungry. You know, attacking and getting upfield more. Kyler Gordon being back in the, you know, in the secondary, being back in the mix is, you know, a big addition. You know, he blitzes from the slot position, from the nickel position. You know, the way that he's been able to cover and tackle has been added. You know, Jaquan Brisker, you know, I kind of joke with my friends. You know, he looks like he's taped together, you know, out there. So he does. He looks like he's, you know, put together with tape. Like they just hold him together with tape sometimes. But, you know, even, you know, with the physicality he plays with, you know, you always kind of wonder, is this would be the play? But he looked a lot more sound last week than he has been throughout the year. You know, and I think, you know, with the secondary and those pieces coming back, especially Kyler Gordon, I think that's kind of the thing that kind of ties that secondary together. And you can play a little bit more aggressive and blitz a little bit more when you have a solid secondary that can play man, they can play close. You know, Tyreek Stevenson, you know, the job that he did throughout the day, he really impressed, you know, going against those receivers. You know, Devontae Adams, he was matched up with a lot. And, you know, he held his own. That was a very, you know, inspiring, you know, performance by that defense. And, you know, if they can continue that throughout the rest of the year, and with the way they run the ball, they might be able to stack some wins and put some things together.
Yeah, and you mentioned it as well when you started talking about it, is, you know, Tyson Bagent, and that's the thing I wanted to ask you guys as well, because as much as D'Onta Foreman had a great game, I feel like everyone's just still stuck on the Bagent and all this. And I mean, he's the guy who, you know, Justin Fields is labeled as doubtful as we speak. So, I mean, his backup Tyson Bagent threw for 162 yards, 21 of 29 passing, nothing really to write home about, honestly. But what did you guys think about his performance? Sean, what did you think about his performance, seeing that as you were there, of course? Like, you know, is he a guy that you're going to feel comfortable, you know, week by week as we, you know, as Fields comes back? Or, I mean, hell, I mean, they might have a decision to make if he, you know, if the team continues to win, because at the end of the day, what matters is wins. And if he's winning, it's going to be up for debate whether, you know, what they're going to do at the quarterback position. But what did you see from your eyes there at Soldier Field?
Well, I thought it was a great job of Tyson to manage the game, and that's all he did. All right, he didn't throw anything past 15, 20 yards. Okay, so he didn't win the game. Okay, he managed the game, and people have to get off this bandwagon about, you know, Tyson Bagent he's our starter. He's not the starter. He's the backup. He came in, he did a job that he was supposed to do. Okay, this game plan was tailored to him. Again, in my opinion, if you have a game plan similar to this with Justin Fields as a starting quarterback, Justin Fields is going to go off for
another 40
yards. Okay? Because of the fact that you run the ball, there's you can't spy him. You can't. I mean, and he's going to be able to hit a lot of these receivers. DJ Moore is going to have another great game. A lot of the other receivers are going to eat as well. So what they need to do, and hopefully they saw it. Hopefully they realize this is the formula this year. All right, run the ball 30 times. And listen, offensive linemen would be happy as pigs in slop if you tell them we're running the ball 30 times, minimum 30. All right, it eats the clock up. It allows them to dictate their will on a defensive lineman. And trust me, when you know that they're running the ball, you don't pass. It's a completely different takeoff as your defensive lineman if you know that ball is running, or they're gashing you on the run and you have to stop it. than it is when you know that you're just going to rush the quarterback. It's a completely different takeoff. Okay, and that's what they need to do. They need to get this defense on their heels. They need to run the ball down, continue to run the ball down their throat like they did last week. And I think Tyson Bagent did a great job of managing the game. All right, he made no mistakes, nothing egregious. He missed a couple receivers here or there, but that's okay. It didn't end up in 6. It didn't end up in a turnover. He played well. He did what a backup's supposed to do. All right, he's nothing. I think he could be in the upper tier of backup quarterbacks as the year goes on or as the seasons go on. But let's stop. I'm not putting him as a starter. I'm not putting him as anything else. All right, because he didn't win that game. All right, if he would have won the game, now it's a different conversation. He didn't win the game. All right, the game was won by the offensive line and the running game and the defense.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. I mean, it's just, people got to calm down a little bit, and I totally agree with that because, I mean, he was at, the front page, and I don't know if it was the Tribune or whatever it was. I'm like, look, would everybody just forget that Foreman had a great game? But no, I mean, I agree. And it's like,
man. He didn't get
right? And I think, and in general with Bagent, one thing I did notice is to give him a little credit there as well is just because he got the ball out when he needed to. I think that's one of the things that people appreciated that, it's one of the things that people have been questioning with Fields or how long he's taking with the ball, all that stuff. But Joe, what were your thoughts on the whole Bagent thing as well as how he played and what role he's going to play in the future if you think there will be some, that's going to be up in the air?
I think he's a very capable, backup QB.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sean said, he did not win the game. The game plan, running the ball, and defense, the way that they played, and the turnovers that they created is what actually won the game. If the Bears use this exact same game plan with Justin Fields, Justin Fields drops 40. We've seen it before. They easily put up 40 points on the Raiders. If they run the ball the way they do, and they can utilize play action a little bit more, and they can hit the long ball, which Justin is great at. If they use this game plan to attack, that makes play action a bigger weapon, and that makes Justin's arm a bigger weapon. As far as, getting the ball down the field, I don't think Tyson Bagent threw the ball past 20 yards the entire game. And, that could have been, out of necessity of the game plan, kind of trying to keep things easy for him. And, he executed that. But I think, we got to get off, I won't say we because it's not us doing it. It's a lot of B-balls out there, who just, just like to hate. And I think, Tyson Bagent having a good game is good for the Bears, and I think, it's good for him. He made the best of his opportunity, going forward. I don't have anything against Tyson. He did a great job, but at the end of the day, QB1 is Justin Fields, and he's the one with special abilities, that you people have in this league. It is up to the Bears coaching staff to do things to kind of help unlock it. And I think we kind of saw an inkling of, what could be possible if they do run the ball, and get downhill. And, you make, make the offense more unpredictable. You keep the defense, off balance when you can run the ball. Like Sean said, to get off, for the defensive line is a lot different when you're throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game versus when you're running it 30 to 35 times a game, and the predictability of the offense up until this point, has been one of the issues is to, in Justin Fields' development. There hasn't been that solid, security of being able to run the ball for whatever reason, but now that he's out, we've seen that they've been able to do it. You got some nasty guys up front. Tevin Jenkins. I think Cody Whitehair appreciated, being able to get downhill after the week he had, getting raked over the coast, being out there to go out there and hit somebody and get downhill. Letting those guys, Lucas Patrick, who's been heavily criticized. Those guys want to go out there and hit people and punish people. Let them do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that was one of the main things that I heard as well from people around. And, as to, going on as to what, Sean said as well, that, he got no love. from the running side of things, D'Onta Foreman, this dude scored a couple touchdowns. The one thing I want to ask you guys though is, do you guys think that there's a spot for him in the run game once everyone is healthy? I know it's kind of stacked. Khalil Herbert, rookie Roschon Johnson doing his thing, but like, is there a chance he plays himself into a scheme, or maybe maybe he plays himself into a trade? What do you guys think? What do you think, Joe?
You know what, D'Onta Foreman, showed a lot. He's a back that can handle a heavy load. If you mix him here with Khalil Herbert, I think you have a dynamic running duo. I think Roschon Jackson, the concussion issue is kind of worrisome to me, but I think D'Onta Foreman is a veteran. He's proven it that he can do it and handle the load time and time again. In Carolina, when they traded Christian McCaffrey, now, with all the running backs for the Bears, he's coming and he performed. Every time he gets an opportunity to perform, he performs. And so I think he does warrant more touches in the run game. And I think, if the intent of this offense is to focus heavy, as Lovey would say, get off the bus running, I think he has to be a part of that. If you have a duo of Khalil Herbert and D'Onta Foreman, in the backfield, that's problems for people.
What are your thoughts, Sean? Do you think he can play his way into a role with the team in the future?
Oh yeah, he definitely can. And if nothing else, we talked about, you got this week, and then you got the trade deadline coming up. So he might be able, to get us something back. But if not, I'd like to keep him. I would love to keep him. I'd love to rotate this. And here's the great thing: depending on how Roschon Johnson is, if Roschon Johnson's not healthy, no problem. Okay, You still have Khalil Herbert. I'm not sure if he's coming back this week. But you still have the two-headed monster, him and Darrynton Evans, right? 16 carries, 14 carries. All right, I really would love to see D'Onta Foreman get 20 carries minimum, all right, and take some away from Darrynton Evans. Or, just run the ball more. I want them to run the ball more. I want them to be under center. It makes a big difference for defensive linemen and linebackers, okay? When you're under center, all right, you're running the ball down their throat like they did on Sunday, and then you have play action. All right, if you watch the game after play action, third quarter, fourth quarter, linebackers are literally coming up and they're frozen because they don't know if the running back has the ball or not. And now Tyson Bagent's able to get out. All right, ends are crashing because you don't know if the running backs have the ball. You can't assume the quarterback has it. You have to crash on the ball. So I don't understand why the Bears can't see this, why they don't continue to use this. But D'Onta Foreman has really done himself a great service, and I think he's really worked himself into the rotation, especially how hard he runs. You saw the tackles he broke. Okay, you saw how hard he ran. I want to say the two mistakes. One, that for the early drop on the check down, and then the one where he stepped out of bounds. He ended up still trucking the guy, but he ended up stepping out of bounds. Stay in bounds as long as you can and deliver the blow. But other than that, I think he played an awesome game. It's unfortunate that his game got overshadowed by Tyson Bagent, who managed the game very well, but D'Onta Foreman really carried the game and won it for them.
100%. That's what I definitely was like, man, if anything, he should be on the cover of the Tribune, man, or something, I'm like, man, he played a hell of a game, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, another guy who had a good game as well, Jaylon Johnson, and we saw from your video, Sean, from his comments that he made, when when they asked him as well about his celebration, was he sending a message, and he said, yeah, he's like, I know who I am, quote, he's like, quote, I know who I am, and I know I can play this game at a high level, and I feel like I deserve to be paid like that, end quote. And if he, of course, had a pick six in the victory. But what did you think about his comment, Sean, when you were there, just seeing how he feels? I mean, how he played. I mean, he put his money where his mouth is, for sure.
You can't continue to trade good people away. All right, you can't continue to trade good players away, hoping the youngsters are going to get to that level. All right, and it's no disrespect to Terrell Smith, all right, or even Tyreek Stevenson. All right, people talk about his inability, and Jaylon Johnson, I'm talking about his inability to take the ball away, his lack of turnovers. Well, there's a lot to be said for the fact that he doesn't have a lot of turnovers because people don't throw to his side.
They don't target him.
They don't throw to his side. Mm-hmm. So if no one throws your side, you're not going to create a lot of turnovers. Okay? And you ask me, and you tell me this, I will definitely substitute shutting down one side of the field for his turnovers. All right, if he can shut me down this side of the field as opposed to him getting turnovers, I'll take it. Because now you're dealing with half a field. You're literally dealing with half a field that you got to work with. All right, and then now if he has another 5 interceptions this year, you're going to have to pay him big bucks. You're going to have to pay him anyway. But, man, and pay him. Pay him, because you know what? You can't keep trading good players away and insist and think you're going to make this team better. It's not going to happen. I hope he gets paid. All right, I hope he gets paid well. He's not trying to break the bank. He said he's not trying to break the bank, but he also understands this is still a business. Get him his paper. And we're going to be about $100 million under the cap space next year anyway in the offseason. Pay him. Pay the man. And now you know, because you know what you're getting. You don't know what you're getting in Terrell Lewis or Terrell
Smith.
Terrell Smith. And Terrell Smith. You have an idea, but you don't exactly know what you're going to get because he has never been a full-time starter. Give me Jalen Johnson. You know what? And he's been very blunt, very honest. In post-game, at his radio segment here in Chicago, he talked about it. Same thing. Not disrespectful, not braggadocious, just matter of fact, just business-like. Pay that man his money, and that's one of the key cogs in your wheel, in your defensive wheel, that you're going to want to keep.
What do you think, Joe?
One of the reasons the Bears have been able to play so aggressive is because of the play of Jalen Johnson. If you can take a man away, if you don't have to worry about, him, the other guy catching the ball, that's a plus. Cornerback is a premium position, and he plays it very well. A lot of people want to get on the lack of, turnovers with. Jalen Johnson is a professional. His technique is very, very sound, very solid. And he takes the man away. And that's the job to do. You want to cover the receiver and make sure that they can't throw the ball to him. There's a lot of quarterbacks out there that gamble a lot, and take chances unnecessarily, and try to bait the quarterbacks to throw their way. Jalen Johnson is just solid. He plays conservatively, I think, and that's kind of been to his detriment. He's played conservatively, and in taking care of his assignments. I think this year he made an effort to kind of be a little bit more sneaky with his technique and try to get to the ball a little bit more. And you've seen it, you've seen it come to fruition against the Raiders. He was injured, he was out for a week or so, and but he's been able to adjust his game a little bit, to kind of create more turnovers on the side. But that's been a knock on it, is the turnover creation. But I just think it's because he's very sound, he's disciplined, and he takes care of his 111. And if people want to knock him for that, that's silly. Like Sean said, if you can take away a quarter, take away a half of the field, that's nothing. You don't really have to worry about that side. That hot beat is gone. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and get him. And that's it. And he tackles. He tackles. He tackles. How many cornerbacks out there tackling like him? It's not a lot. It's not a lot.
Yeah, no, and I mean, look, I love the confidence as well. I mean, he's, like I said, he's putting his money where his mouth is, and you love to see it with players like that because, look, at the end of the day, you got to know your worth, and you got to stand by it. And I love that he's speaking out, speaking his mind, and even he said it too. He's like, it's not just the Bears he's talking to; any team he talks to like that. So he's ready to get paid. But now looking ahead to this week, of course, the Bears are on another prime time slot. This time they take on the Los Angeles Chargers, who are sitting at 2-4. They're an inconsistent bunch led by Justin Herbert, who one week throws 167 yards and then the week after that throws 400. So which Justin Herbert will the Bears get is one of the bigger questions. But, will the Bears be able to take these guys down and move to 3-5? Because, I mean, this is going to be an interesting matchup for the Bears defense and for as well as, see what Bagent can do. Because like I said, most likely he will start as Fields is doubtful. But Sean, what do you think is going to go down on Sunday night?
Well, I hope they do. They keep the same game plan. If they do, the Bears have a great chance to win. All right, if they do, the Bears have a great chance to win. Here's, you know why? You got 2 stud pass rushers. You can't roll away from one. You can't leave one. You got Bosa and you have Khalil Mack. All right, so my thought is this: continue to run the ball and run right at Khalil Mack. Continue to run the ball right at Bosa. All right, do not take it easy on them. Set the tone. All right, run the ball 30 times. Do not run away from them. Do not go laterally with them. All right, they have too much speed and athleticism. They can track it down and make the play. Run right at them. All right, you got a fullback, okay, coming at Khalil Herbert. You have a tight end, I may say a move tight end coming at Bosa. Get your helmet on his head. Make these guys play a physical game. All right, I think if we do that, the chance of the Bears winning increases. All right, they have I was about to say San Diego. The Chargers have a horrible pass defense. They're 29, 30, 31, somewhere in there. Okay, you continue to run the ball, you're going to be able to exploit that passing. You just can't come out throwing the ball, all right? Because then you're going to let you're going to Khalil Mack and Bosa go to work. Can't do that. You need to run the ball and you need to attack the pass when it's there, or when you need to, and then later in the game, after you've established a run and they must respect the run, then you can have some big chunk plays down the field and really do some damage at that point. So I'm seeing, I don't know what I'm going to see. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if Luke Getsy is going to keep the same game plan, or is he going to try to be the smartest man in the room and outthink himself this week? We're going to find out.
Yeah, I think it's always better if you keep it simple, and I agree. Like with Bosa and Mack, is what, a week and a half removed, 2 weeks removed from having 6 sacks in one game. And Bosa, those guys can dominate and wreck a game. Both of them are very capable of doing that. We've seen Mack firsthand. In Chicago, we know what he's capable of. When you have ends that can rush like that, it's very imperative that you get downhill and you don't allow them to get off, like you talked about earlier. To me, it's kind of interesting because you kind of talked about it, Saul. Justin Herbert. Which Justin Herbert are we going to get? It's always funny to me to see the amount of criticism that Fields gets and the lack of criticism that Herbert is getting. And sometimes I wonder why that is. I have an idea.
No, you don't.
I don't wonder. I know why.
Yeah, but you have an inkling.
I have an inkling why. But, what I'm saying? This is a team, 2-4. This is a team that people were expecting to get to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? And, and the coach, Brandon Staley, has made some questionable decisions. I think, this is another opportunity for the Bears to come out and, play aggressively on both sides of the ball, attacking and, running the ball. I think, if we can, add upon those game plans that we saw against Las Vegas, the Bears have a great chance of winning in Los Angeles. The fans are going to fly out, to LA and pack that stadium out because, we travel well. And the Chargers really don't got the fan base like that in LA. This is an opportunity for the Bears, to get out there and take over the stadium, as we've done before. I think this is a great opportunity for the Bears to be able to, to stack some wins.
Yeah, I think the same way too. Is that this is a winnable game, and the way that spotlight's going to be on the Bears again. I mean, they're playing. After this, they're playing two of their next 3 games in primetime. They play the Panthers as well in their next primetime game. So it's going to be something to see how these Bears react, regardless of who's under center. And they have definitely winnable games. But moving on, the last thing I want to finish off with you guys, ask a question related to the rest of the NFL. The Miami Dolphins, of course, we saw them on Sunday Night Football get taken down by the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, everyone's asking.
It's Claypool.
Yeah. I was gonna blame it on the Kelly Green. That's all I was gonna. But no, but it's just everyone's saying, what is it with the Dolphins? Is it
it's all Claypool
because yeah, because the schedule, people are talking about the schedule, this schedule, that, or as Joe's talking about it there. Joe, you obviously know whose fault it is, right?
Yeah, it's Chase Claypool's fault, obviously. But I think though, the Philadelphia Eagles, that's a different kind of team right there.
Yeah.
And this is just a different kind of team. While the Miami Dolphins, do have the ability to dominate a game and break a game open, you're going against guys that know how to win a game. You're going against a coaching staff that knows how to game plan and take what you're good at away. And that's what happened in Philadelphia. You talking about and it's the NFL too. You're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles who lost to the Jets the week before. So
yeah.
So sometimes these things happen, but I do think within the case of the Miami and the Philadelphia, I just think you caught Philadelphia in a bad spot. When they just had to suffer a bad loss, and they weren't going to come out there and have a repeat performance of that. It just wasn't going to happen. Those Eagles have too much pride. They got a lot of vets on that team that weren't going to stand for that. And I think with the Miami Dolphins, they're still up and coming. They got the talent and they're ready to win, but they're just quite aren't there yet. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are just a notch above. They got that killer instinct. I think the Miami Dolphins are still trying to develop that, and they're just going through their growing pains. And that's the way the NFL kind of shapes out sometimes. Sometimes teams got your number, and I think they got caught in a bad spot, with the Eagles losing badly to the Jets, and so they just got caught in a bad spot, and they weren't ready for it. They had to know that Philadelphia was going to come in and give them their best shot, and I don't think they were. I don't think they were ready for it.
Yeah, and then you talk about, that's one thing too that I kept hearing too with parity. I mean, hell, look at the Bills who lost to the Patriots last week and are currently beating up on the Buccaneers. So yeah, I mean, it's like anything from week to week is crazy. But Sean, what's your opinion on the Dolphins and the direction they're headed?
I think they're a good team. I think they might have. I don't know if they give them the proper respect that they deserve. They really should be. I mean, they were in the Super Bowl last year. Philly was, and so, you're why you can't give that team respect, I don't know. But Philly's they're tough. All right, Philly's got a stud defense, and maybe that's exactly it. Maybe you need to have a stud defense, and that's the best way to attack this Miami Dolphins offense. I don't want to say they're for real. There's something about them, though, Saul. There's something about them. Yes, they had their track team. Yes, they got Mozart. Was it Mozart, the running back? And then you got the track team and Waddle and Cheetah. But there's something about them that just that doesn't allow me to say this is one of the best teams in the league. I still think
the defensive side of the ball.
Well, I mean, you got Vic Fangio down there, so I mean, they should be good. But it's just I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. There's just something about this team that they're going to fold when the rubber meets the road. They're going to fold, and I can't quantify it. I can't put my finger on it. I can't articulate it. But there's just something that I see when I see this team. I feel this team. They're going to win a lot of games. Don't get me wrong. They're going to set a lot of records, but time, okay, and that's where it really matters. All right, ask the Golden State Warriors. Playoff. It doesn't matter what you do in the regular season. Okay, playoff time. I think it's going to be a whole different story for these Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, and you mentioned the defense, and they got Jalen Ramsey that might be coming back soon. Like maybe that helps. Who knows that situation? But I mean, it's going to be fascinating to see because it's one of those things where they're the type of team where that some people aren't sold on Purdy, despite what we saw on Monday. Regardless, take that game out. Some people aren't sold on Purdy. I still see some people aren't sold on Tua, even though they've seen some big games out of him this season. But I mean, yeah, I agree with you. There's something about the Dolphins. It's just like you don't necessarily put them up there in the upper echelon as certain other teams, like the Eagles, for example. But it's going to be fascinating to see how they develop and see where guys go, because I know they might even be without Wild depending on what happened with he got injured. So
I think it's the what it is for me is the physicality, that they play with. Like Sean said it, they're a track team, and usually when you get fast teams, they don't seem like they can be physical. And playoff football, when it's a lot colder out, you got to travel a little bit more. So you got a different, the fan bases, are really, really loud. You need to be able to get up to the line and go on one and push the ball down somebody's throat. And I don't know if they got that kind of physicality. I think that's what it is for me. I think it's the physicality that they play with.
For me, it's Tua's one hit. He's one hit away from spazzing up again and really being out for the season. And I'm not saying that jokingly or in jest. He's literally one hit away for his career being over. All right. You want to come back and okay, well, then hopefully he's protected, because if you knock Tua out, you know what? That's like hiding the key to the Ferrari. You got nobody to get the ball, in an efficient manner, and trust me, this, teams are going to go for him. They're going to try and knock him out. All right, legally, of course. But you're going to try and knock them out, because if you do, man, like I said, that's losing the key to the Ferrari.
I agree, and I think that's as much weapons that they have. When we've seen them, when they have the next man up mentality, but if they can't, they can't last the whole season sometimes with certain guys. So hopefully, they're able to figure it out. But I think it's a good place to wrap things up for this edition of the Bears Den. I want to thank my co-host today, Joe Tanksley, as well as Sean Sierra. Of course, hopefully the Bears can pull out a win on Sunday and keep this thing going. But again, thanks everyone for watching. Check out War Media's coverage as well as All Sports Zone Chicago with Sean Sierra as well. And hopefully everyone enjoys the week. Take it easy, everybody. This was the Bears Den.
Peace.